housing distribution, and fair housing. And the number of goals that are set forth in the chapter address each of these points. There were a couple of policies under the goals that that needed a little bit of work, and we talked about some of those at our last meeting on Tuesday, and we made some corrections at the public meeting. Any others that we feel are necessary to be modified or changed, we will send to them so that they can work it into the chapter. I think most of their goals, policies, and objectives work for the Village of Pleasant Prairie. There are a couple of them, again, that I would like them to address, and they're aware of those. In summary, the first three parts of this chapter provide inventory information on existing housing stock and housing demand, including affordable housing needs and assessment, a description of government housing programs, and information on community policies and ordinances that affect the type of housing permitted in the local government. A summary of the inventory information is all provided in this chapter. With that, I would recommend that the board approve this chapter.
Gene, Mike brought up a very good point about the trend and what's happening. Would that just be footnoted or something, bottom of the page, that we, at the time that we're looking at this, there is a change?
Yes, and I already brought it to the attention of the commission that we were concerned about that. I think most of the communities were concerned with that as well. It's an unfortunate thing that we need to get this done by 2010, and 2010 is when the census is going to be completed. But again, the detailed information won't be available till end of 2011 anyway. So, I mean, every 5 years, we should be relooking at our comprehensive plan, if not more often, just to make sure that we still are on track and it still makes sense.
Steve?
Jenny, I noticed in the assisted living housing, we got St. Joseph, they got like an option address, why is it doesn't work? What the county does about it?
That was one of the changes that I made. Actually, they had St. Joe's and they had El Tiro Woodwood in this city, so I made all those corrections with them. This was the chapter that they had sent to us, and I made those changes on Tuesday last week with the committee.
Thank you. Without a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Steve, and not further discussion. Question. Hearing none, those in favor? Aye. Opposed? So carries. Brings us item A, has considered the engineering services agreement with Clark D. Finkel. This is for the sanitary sewer bypass line. This is for the sewer D decommission.
Mr. President, before you have a memo from Mike Sensor, engineer, and he received proposals from two firms, Nielsen Madison Barber and Clark Dietz, for providing surveying and easement preparation services for the sewer line that's going to come from sewer D over to the Lakeview Lift when we abandon that treatment plant. And evaluating proposals, Mike is saying that recommending that go to Clark Dietz. They have $5,500 lower their fees. They have no workforce and they're a competent firm. Total project cost is estimated at $30,000 for the work provided. Mike, do you have anything to add to that? Come on up, you did that so long.
Mike Spence, 8600 Green Bay Road. Yeah, this is really the first step in proceeding with design of the sewer bypass for sewer D, and it's really a necessary step to get the survey done so that we can get the right alignment for that, and also really keep on track with the time schedule for decommissioning sewer D. As Mike said, I did a couple proposals, and they were both very technically sound, and Clark Dietz was less expensive.
Is this expense a utility expense or a capital expense?
What's capital for utility?
Capital out of
It's part of the overall abandonment plan. That would be abandoned on New Year's Eve 2010.
Schedule.
not a minute sooner.
Schedule.
I move to grant the award to Clark Beats.
Second.
Motion by Mike, second by Steve. Further discussion, questions? Hearing none, those in favor? Aye. Opposed, so carries. That brings us to item L. Let's consider resolution 08-09. Resolution in support of SB 523, and this is for protection of the water resources for the Great Lakes.
Mr. President, this resolution coming before you to secure the village board support for SB 523, and that's a law that's being proposed on the Senate for the protection of the water resources of the Great Lakes. What it does is, we talked about this earlier, it identifies what areas in Wisconsin are going to get Lake Michigan water, the conditions, methods of approval for it, and the law has to be approved by the Assembly and the Governor to be part of the charter. Lake Michigan, I mean, if you think back of, maybe think of this last summer, some of the water problems that were had in the southern parts of the country, I mean, we've got a resource that's incredible, and we have the ability, we've spent literally millions of dollars to abandon wells that were contaminated with radium, provide sanitary sewers that are going to take the water back to Lake Michigan as we bring water out. And that last agenda item was really one of the last steps we're going to take to fully complete the abandonment of discharging water to the Des Plaines Basin that comes out of the Mississippi River Basin. President Steinbrink, in his capacity in the Assembly, has done a lot of work on the Natural Resources Committee. They've been working on this for a long time, and I know there's a lot of people that would be happy to see this water go all the way out to La Crosse, but defining an area where water can come out and go back, I think is important for the state compact. And the village of Pleasant Prairie, in all actuality, we already have a permit to divert, and we're going to end that diversion in 2010. We could just sit there and say, well, we've got ours, we're going to be able to do this no matter what. But I think if you look at this from a public policy perspective, and I think this is why this is a good resolution to adopt, it's important that resources be protected, that the water not go that far beyond the basin where it can't be returned, so that we keep the water we have here. My experience in other communities out west is, communities that need water will pay whatever they have to pay to get the water. In Colorado, there's communities that run a couple hundred miles, tunnel underneath the sun over the Continental Divide to get the water. In Oklahoma, we pumped water from 150 miles away, up 600 feet in elevation. A third of it would evaporate when we dumped it into a lake, and we were glad to do it. And there, if the resource is protected, at some point the balance of Congress is going to change. And where now there's an unwillingness to take water out of Great Lakes, there may be a willingness to do it. I think it's important that this law gets adopted and the resource gets protected, even though we technically wouldn't need it. But I think it's good public policy to ensure that the Michigan water resources are protected. So it's my recommendation that resolution 0809 be adopted and forwarded to Governor and the Wisconsin Assembly for our support of SB 523.
Stay another on what you just said, Mike, is I heard something, and I don't know when I heard it, where I heard it from, but Lake Mead in the Las Vegas area is like 32 feet down. Is that right? 32 feet. There's a problem.
I go to Fede Jordan, design map over there.
Motion to approve resolution 0809.
Second.
Motion by Clyde, second by Steve. I had the privilege and the honor to serve on the Great Lakes Task Force, but we did look at this agreement. Unfortunately, we met with an impasse because there are areas of the state that want availability to this resource. And unfortunately, to honor that request with this in conflict with the agreement as it now is written, right now,